Hey, so about 7 months ago, I made a huge mistake. One that nearly could have lost me everything. Let's talk about that. So, around the end of last January one night, for no good reason whatsoever, I decided that I wanted to change the appearance of my computer's desktop. I'll spare you the details, but basically, I downloaded something I probably shouldn't have, messed around with my system files in the process, ended up reverting all the changes I had made via System Restore, and then the next morning, I woke up to this. A BSOD with the stop code critical process died. This is one of the last things you'd ever want to see as a Windows user, because it essentially means an important system process has been corrupted, and in my case, it rendered my computer completely unusable. Automatic repair wouldn't work, and all my attempts at a system restore failed as well. And I guess it also didn't help that I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Eventually, after much trial and error, I came to the unfortunate conclusion that there was just no saving my copy of Windows, and the only option left was a clean installation. I used a different computer to create a bootable USB drive that allowed me to reinstall Windows on my own computer, after which I spent several hours hastily reinstalling all my programs and applications. So now, I'm making this video on my new copy of Windows, and hopefully this time, I'll be a bit smarter and try not to inadvertently destroy it over something completely avoidable. Now, with all of that said, of course, it begs the question, what all was lost? Well, this is where the pain starts setting in, because as it turns out, I forgot to back up most of the video and audio files saved on my computer before then. As a result, a lot of important stuff got completely wiped after I reinstalled Windows. Most notably, the majority of my video catalog from 2020 onward across both of my channels. Yep, the original files no longer exist. It was not a fun time once I realized that. Fortunately, most of the videos I did lose are still here on this channel, as I had uploaded them long beforehand, so this shouldn't really affect you guys in any major way. As for me, however, it was rather difficult adjusting to not having many of my old files on hand anymore. I had to spend time re-downloading a lot of other things I lost besides my videos, mainly a whole bunch of video game OSTs and sound effects. On the bright side, I actually did have the foresight to back up all my own music through MediaFire. Thank goodness for that, because otherwise there was no way I would have recovered those files. Besides that, all my pictures were unaffected as I had them saved to my personal OneDrive, and I also backed up a handful of 2020 and 2021 videos from my main channel long beforehand. Mostly various Mario 64 collab entries that I had previously emailed to certain SM64 machinists in the past. Although it is a shame now that one of those videos was made for someone who earlier this year got exposed for
Why you trolling like a bitch, ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
Anyway, that's enough of me explaining how I lost all my files like a complete idiot. If there's any takeaway from this part of the video, it's to always back up your shit. Moving on to other matters, it's no secret at this point that I've neglected to talk about a certain project I announced towards the end of my last update video 3 years ago. That project, if you recall, was the Ultimate Mario Master 810 Iceberg Explained, which I plan to release by the end of August 2021. Why do I keep doing this to myself, man? Okay, so obviously the video didn't come out by then, and in fact, almost a year later, I announced the project's cancellation in a long-since deleted tweet of mine. So why was it never finished? To answer that, I should probably explain what I was working on right before I had to reinstall Windows. Bear with me for the next few minutes. So, around November of last year, I began working on a new video for this channel, MM810 Archive. In it, I plan to showcase all the work I had done for my Iceberg video, as well as provide an in-depth explanation for why it was ultimately scrapped. I worked on this video on and off for about 2 or 3 months, making significant progress along the way, to the point where it was looking to top well over 30 minutes in runtime. Can you guess what happened to it after I fucked up my computer? Not only did I lose the video's project file, but I also lost all the files I originally created for my iceberg video dating back to 2021. This was perhaps the biggest casualty I had to deal with after reinstalling Windows. Like legitimately, I was so devastated once I realized it was all gone just like that. Everything from my iceberg video that was lost included the Vegas project file, which I only managed to complete 20 seconds of, go figure, a 45-second narration track, a 30-second intro sequence, and the video script, which was also incomplete. Admittedly, the loss of these files might not seem that significant considering how little progress was made on the project in the first place, but believe me when I say it pained me to inadvertently erase them from existence. Additionally, compounding this suffering further was losing the video intended to showcase these files. Make no mistake, I really did spend a lot of time on this project. It had its own multi-page long script, and hell, I must have recorded at least 50 narration tracks for the damn thing. It was this close to completion, and now it's gone forever. So yeah, it's just been a shit show behind the scenes when it comes to anything related to my iceberg video. At this point, I'd be perfectly content with just forgetting it all ever happened. That being said, there are actually a couple things that managed to survive thanks to my OneDrive coming in clutch again. For example, in the images department, the iceberg itself, as well as its updated variant which would have served as the basis for my iceberg video, were both safe and backed up long before my major blunder. For context, the original iceberg image, which I posted to my Twitter account around 4 years ago, included 48 entries, while this updated version included 75 entries. You heard correctly. That's 75 points of discussion that I plan to explain in detail for my iceberg video.
Jeez, man, why'd you have to add so many stinking entries to your iceberg? Like, oh my god, no wonder the video was never finished.
Yeah, great deduction, random person I made up, but you know something else I actually did finish? Why, it's the thumbnail! Okay, real quick before we look at the thumbnail, I should probably address what exactly it is you're all looking at right now.
What the hell is even that?
This, my friends, is one of 4 animations that I made for the showcase video, mainly to serve as visual aids for whatever I was talking about at a certain point in the video. I would play them all back to back, but each one of them requires context to fully understand. Before I start my yammering, however, let me briefly return to the iceberg video thumbnail. There's really not much to say here. You've got your standard red arrow and big text in all caps, as well as a repertoire of characters featured on my channel over the years. Your boy is front and center, and the updated iceberg is poking out to the side. And that's about it. Like I said, there isn't a whole lot to discuss about this thumbnail. So now let's go ahead and tackle those showcase video animations. And I've got some explaining to do for these. First, we'll break down this one, which mentions a certain SM64 machinist who you might be familiar with. So, Rise, if you don't still have this video and you really want it back, please let me know by commenting on this video. I'm sure we can work something out if that happens to be the case. No pressure, of course, totally up to you. Where do I even start with this one? Alright, so first of all, Rise. What is she doing here? Well, in the original 20 seconds of my iceberg video, there was a brief moment where I highlighted a few SM64 machinists as examples of what I referred to as underground content creators. Besides their channel names and profile pictures, I also featured one video from each machinist, mainly to help get my point across about small YouTubers. At least, I think that's what I was talking about. Anyway, the video I used to highlight Rise's work was a now deleted video called Rise Goes to Canada. Now you may be asking,
But why was the video deleted?
It's a long story and one that I don't feel like narrating, so instead here's a text box for you to pause and read if you want to. Just know that this all happened about 3 years ago and is very old news at this point. So with that in mind, you might be able to tell now what I was going for with this animation. Granted, it probably wasn't the best way to go about something like this, but I guess it's the thought that counts, right? In any case, this animation has since been rendered useless for reasons I've already discussed multiple times in this video. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Rise still had the original video this whole time and just never bothered to re-upload it. Man, now that I think about it, what was I thinking when I animated this? Ah well, moving on to the next one now. By the way, the music you're listening to right now is called Somebody Set Up Us the Bomb-Omb by Theory of N from the overclocked remix album Super Mario 64 Portrait of a Plumber. I give it 5 power stars. This animation was supposed to play after I revealed my Iceberg video's intro sequence in the showcase video. Really, it was just a visually clever way for me to list off a music credit and not much else. I wish I had the original video file for the intro still with me so I could show you all what I was going for with my choice of music, but yeah. At least the song I chose is kick-ass, so too is the album it came from, go check it out. Now, you've already seen the next animation earlier in this video, so we can just skip it and move on to the 4th and final animation I created for the showcase video. This one should serve as a segue into the final thing I want to discuss regarding my Iceberg video. Roll it.
Hey guys, did you miss me? Man, that whole rebrand thing still hasn't materialized yet, but I promise it'll happen someday. So in any case, I figured I'd spend some time hanging out with you guys again, maybe catch up on things. It's not like I abandoned all of you 2 years ago or anything, nah. It was for the rebrand. I'm just trying to move on to bigger things. You guys understand that, right?
I think now is as good a time as ever to finally explain everything I felt during the months after I announced my Iceberg video, to hopefully help you all better understand why it was ultimately scrapped. As a precaution, I'm about to delve into some rather personal territory, so please take that into consideration for the latter half of this video. There are a lot of things I've been meaning to open up about. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Thinking about this project, both then and now, it always seems to bring about these negative emotions within me. So, if I don't exactly sound thrilled to recall what was going on inside my head at the time, now you know why. So, after I uploaded my last update video, as well as a very short teaser trailer for my Iceberg video around 1 or 2 weeks later, my focus shifted almost exclusively towards college. Importantly, it was my first semester at the time, and I wanted to give myself the best chance I could to succeed. As a result, my free time, which was supposed to be spent working on my Iceberg video, became rather limited for the next couple of months. During these moments, however, I slowly began losing interest and motivation in the project. I think sometime after I initially announced it, I only then realized just how ambitious I set up this Iceberg video to be, and I became daunted by the prospect of so much as working on it in any meaningful capacity. I even worked on a completely different side project in September of that year just to do something for YouTube that wasn't working on my Iceberg video. Essentially, I had scared myself out of completing my own project. And honestly, I don't think I was ever truly prepared or committed to seeing it through to the end. By the end of that semester, I had made virtually no progress on the Iceberg video whatsoever. It had gotten so ridiculous by that point that I felt it was necessary to be openly transparent about it with my audience. I released a statement to my Twitter around Thanksgiving, explaining my situation and updating the Iceberg video's release date to what else but TBD. More on this statement later, by the way. During the following winter break, I was actually starting to get my footing back on the project somewhat. Granted, it was only intermittent progress, but still, it was certainly greater than it had ever been beforehand. However, by next semester, at the start of 2022, things mostly returned to the same song and dance. My free time was once again cut short, and eventually, whatever motivation I had left to complete my Iceberg video all but bottomed out. I was just so over it by then, and I made that very evident in this statement I posted to my Twitter in mid-April of that year. After over 8 months since I announced it and hardly anything to show for it, I was not in the best headspace when it came to just about anything surrounding my Iceberg video. There were some heavy things I felt just thinking about it. Disappointment from all the potential I was wasting by neglecting this project for so long, frustration with myself for failing to follow through with it, like several other past projects of mine, at least initially. Perhaps most of all, however, I regretted one critical choice I made following my last update video that has affected me personally ever since. If we double back to my first statement from the previous year, you'll notice that I expressed regret in my departure from the SM64 Machinima community. I had already mentioned this decision of mine in my last update video, but what you might not know is that I took it to the furthest extreme I possibly could. Not only did I quit SM64 Machinima and depart from MG128, but I also cut off all communication with the community I had across all my socials. Even my friends on Discord, most of whom weren't even in the Machinima community, I cut them off as well. And why did I do all this, you might ask? Because I wanted to rebrand. That's not a joke, that's literally the reason why I stopped talking to everyone online. And now you will finally see where I was coming from in that last showcase video animation. Jesus Christ, what do I even say for myself? Alright, look, in all honesty, I'm probably making this out to be worse than it really is, but can you really blame me? I genuinely believe that cutting off all connections with the only people I spoke to online was a viable course of action for my rebrand. Who even does that? Well, apparently this guy's speaking to you right now because I was stupid enough to think it would somehow benefit me in the long run. Spoiler alert, it hasn't. I just feel like it was a shitty thing for me to do, let alone seriously consider, you know? Because I had made true, honest friendships with some of these people. At least, I think I did. But the fact that I was perfectly willing to throw it all away because I didn't like being called Mario Master 810 anymore, it was selfish. No other way to put it. It was just selfish. And for that, I am truly sorry to everyone I let down and abandoned. I wasn't lying in that first statement of mine when I said that I had been very lonely online in the months following my last update video. After I stopped communicating with everyone I was still in touch with at the time, I had no one else outside my own family to turn to if I wanted to so much as talk with somebody. Essentially, it was a prison of my own making that I had trapped myself into, convincing myself that it was all somehow justified for the rebrand without taking into consideration just what that even meant anymore. As weeks into my first semester turned into months and I became more engrossed in my college work, I began losing sight of things and started to question my own decisions. Why did I set myself up to go through so many hoops for this almighty rebrand I devised? Why did I think cutting off my friends would somehow help me in any conceivable way? Why did I think the best way to retire the MM810 username was with an absurdly overambitious iceberg video? Most of all, however, what was the point of any of this if I couldn't even follow through on what I had promised? These questions of self-doubt were exasperated by the fact that I had nobody I felt I could confide in about them. I had all but dumped the only friends I had online up to that point with hardly a second thought, and I had disconnected myself from all other outlets of communication with anyone else, whether that be through Discord, Twitter, or YouTube. I was truly all alone. In fact, I still am, even today. The more months I spent not speaking to anybody online, the more I gradually resigned myself to this limbo state I had confined myself to, away from everyone and without a clear sense of direction. Eventually, I came to the harrowing conclusion that my decisions leading up to this point and the unpleasantries that came along with it were all my own undoing. Promising such an enormous project as an iceberg video, yet never being truly committed to making it happen, giving my audience false hope in its completion and then basically disappearing afterward, consciously using my rebrand as justification for abandoning all my friends and everyone else I was in contact with. It was all on me, no one else. I might have convinced myself that my actions were reason enough for me to be as lonely as I was, and still am for that matter. At one point I thought, maybe this is what I get for thinking any of this was ever a good idea. Maybe this is what I deserve. It was a terrible way to look at things, and I'm thankful that I'm able to recognize that now, but I digress. So, as this vicious cycle of regret continued to spiral onward, the hope that my iceberg video would ever see the light of day began slowly fading. This leads me back to my second statement, in which I laid out everything I felt at the time regarding the project. As I said before in this video, I was not in good spirits when I so much as thought about my iceberg video. The weight of the disappointment, the guilt, and the regret that was now attached to it had emotionally tied me down, and more than anything, I just wanted to rid myself of those dark feelings. Even still, however, I remained hesitant to give up on the project. I kept telling myself that if I could just somehow find it within me to truly lock in and set myself straight, then I could finally make this iceberg video a reality. But in the back of my mind, I knew that just wasn't feasible anymore. It had been 8 long months of negligence and barely any progress. Who knows how many more it would take for me to finish the video at the rate I was going? Would anyone still care? Does anyone still care now? That was what I couldn't be sure of before I released this statement. Between my self-inflicted solitude and my long absence from content creation, I had no real way to gauge whether my audience was still invested in my iceberg video or not. I could only assume that my actions and subsequent inactivity caused most people to move on from me in the time between my last update video and this statement. Regardless, I kept clinging on to the hope that at least some people would reach out to me and let me know whether they still wanted to see my iceberg video. I even wrote a similarly worded community post on my main channel asking the same thing. All I was asking at this point was an answer. A response, a sign, anything to let me know what path to go from here, whether I should keep this project alive or kill it off for good. So, what happened afterward? Well, my statement garnered maybe a couple likes on Twitter, but no replies, much to my displeasure. However, my community post saw one comment from none other than Matthew Smart. You may recognize him if you're at least tangentially within the SM64 Machinima community, but that's besides the point. Now, I don't have a screenshot of his specific comments, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But I believe he said something along the lines of, "I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still looking forward to your iceberg video, but if working on it really is causing you that much dissatisfaction, don't be afraid to just move on from it. Focus on doing what makes you happiest." Right then, it hit me, like 1,000 of the sun's rays shining down, purging the darkness that had surrounded me. I finally realized what I had actually been doing wrong from the very beginning. That is, not living for myself. All this time, I was trying to get myself to do all these crazy ambitious things with my iceberg video solely for my audience. But ultimately, I lost sight of why I was really doing any of this. My departure from Mario 64 Machinima, my rebrand, even my iceberg video to a certain degree, it was all to start myself anew, to free myself from all the limitations that being Mario Master 810 for so long entailed, and to reconfigure my identity across the internet. I didn't need to continue fumbling about trying to complete an enormous project I'd long since grown weary of, broken promises be damned. At this point, it wasn't even for me anymore, and that's who I needed to focus on most of all. So thank you, Matthew, for helping me see the light at the end of this long, winding tunnel. I am forever in your debt. So, with that in mind, plus some further deliberation afterward, I made my final decision regarding the future of my iceberg video. I posted a now-deleted tweet around June of that year stating that the project was cancelled before never speaking a word about it again. Finally, I could move on from this whole escapade and just be done with it. Now, it was only a matter of time before I was truly ready to begin the next chapter of my journey. As it stands today, I've basically gotten over the iceberg video itself. I've accepted that I was way in over my head when I conceptualized a project, and that I wasn't very well equipped to undertake such a tall order. And that's okay. I can look back on that experience now and recognize that things simply didn't work out. And that's alright, because I came away from it with a greater understanding of my own limitations, as well as areas I can improve on when creating new projects in the future. That part I'm totally fine with. What really still bothers me in all of this is choosing to abandon my friends in the process and never speaking to them again. I had no good reason to, as I've stated countless times already. It's the one regret that still lingers in the back of my mind, and it continues to affect me even after this long. It's been ages since I've been a part of any friend group. Hell, I can't even remember the last time I DM'd a single person on Discord who wasn't my sister. I really am starved for any sort of interaction at this point, but honestly, I'm not so sure if I'm even ready for something like that again. I mean, it's been, 3 years? What are you even supposed to do when you haven't spoken to anyone online on a regular basis in 3 years? It's kind of making me nervous just thinking about it if I'm being perfectly honest. Well, hopefully someone in the comments can maybe knock some sense into me. Lord knows I probably need it. Anyway, now that depression time's over, how about I talk about what's been going on with me lately? So, back in February, 11 years to the day I uploaded my first video on YouTube, I finally changed my username. About frickin' time. Anyway, say hello everyone to Jacktastic. You can probably guess what that entails, right? Anyway, with my new username in tow, I can now smoothly transition into making some cool new shit, stay tuned by the way, without all the baggage that MM810 entails. I guess it feels liberating in a sense. Oh, I was officially credited as a contributor for the Mario 64 ROM hack B3313. That's pretty neat. I actually received a comment on one of my videos from the project's lead developer, Chris, confirming that he did in fact use one of my SM64 Beta Archive recreation minis for one of B33's levels, but didn't know that it was my mini, so it looks like he went ahead and remedied that. And now my name is attached to one of the biggest, most acclaimed Mario 64 ROM hacks of all time. I'm honestly quite flattered. Thanks, Chris. Say, have you ever heard of 10 Words of Wisdom? I'm sure any OSC peeps watching this know what's up.
What the hell?
Well, since the start of this year, I've been competing in the show's second season, 11 Words of Wisdom, or EWOW for short. Currently, as I'm recording this, episode 8B is coming up next, so I'm still awaiting EWOW 8's results until then. How's my performance been so far? Well, initially, I was doing really well. I managed to gain 2 extra lives at the start of the game, but lately I've been slumping pretty hard. I've lost 2 consecutive lives, and if the quality of my EWOW 8 response is anything to go by, that'll soon be 3 lives lost in a row. I'm still guaranteed safe at least until EWOW 10, but now that's apparently when the game will change, so who knows if I'll even make it then. Still, it's been quite an exciting experience for me overall. I've been following TWOW as a viewer since 2016, casting my fair share of votes during the show's first season, as well as drawing my own fan arts, so to be given the opportunity to compete for myself on its official second season is just so cool. My time on the show may be coming to an end soon, but here's hoping I go out on a high note at least, yeah? Let's see, what else? Oh, fuck. So, I have a confession to make, one that's very unbecoming of me. In the middle of last June, while I was perusing a bookstore with my family, I made a huge mistake. I bought my first manga. I know, it truly is tragic, but it's important that I come clean about my transgression. The same month, I somehow began watching multiple clips of Nichijou on YouTube, and unfortunately, I absolutely loved it. I say unfortunately, because now my weeb arc has officially begun, and I am slowly becoming an anime fan. I gotta be honest, man, this shit's been hitting me like a goddamn truck speeding down I-75 at 90 miles an hour. Like I've already typed out an entire list on my phone of a bunch of different anime that interest me, and I'm already knee-deep in the shows like Bocchi the Rock and Azumanga Daioh. 5 years ago, I never would have given any of this stuff a second thought. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. As if I couldn't stoop any lower. Alright, this bit's getting old. Oh, you want to know what I think of Nichijou? Right, Yuko is the silly. I love her. Nah, but for real though, I really do enjoy just about everything this funny little comedy series has to offer. The humor, the characters, the art style, the animation, the soundtrack, it all just really clicks for me somehow. I never in a million years thought any anime would ever get through to me. But I guess I was wrong. Very wrong. Is this what enlightenment feels like? To finally understand the concept of an anime that's good, actually? Anyway, so I bought the first volume of the manga. It's great, you should go check it out. It's actually been interesting looking through the original source material and comparing it to how it was adapted for the TV screen. Like, even without the added benefit of animation or voice acting, there's still so much life in a lot of these panels. It really goes to show just how talented an artist Arawi truly is. Seriously, just flip through these pages for yourself and you're bound to find something that jumps out at you. Whether it's this, or that. So yeah, I'd say experiencing Nichijou like this has been a pretty fun time overall. For me, it honestly reminds me of when I used to read comic strip collections like Big Nate's, Calvin and Hobbes, or Peanuts even. I guess I'm just naturally drawn to these funny little stories and their simple yet unique and expressive art styles. They always seem to put me in a good mood, and Nichijou is treating me quite similarly in that regard. By the way, I went ahead and bought the second volume for my birthday back in August. But yeah, to make a long fucking story short, Nichijou is excellent and you should go watch it / read it. Also, my sanity is in shambles now because of it. Also, watch the City anime coming next year. Well, now that we've gone over some of my personal life as of late, I guess there's only one more thing left to cover. So, as it stands right now, MM810 Archive is essentially complete. I've already re-uploaded and archived all my old videos and whatnot, and I've already made all my old music publicly available for download. Unless I stumble upon or uncover a new piece of unreleased material that I believe is worth sharing, this channel will remain inactive for the foreseeable future. However, there are 2 new videos left that I have planned before I leave this place as is, so listen closely. The first video will be a short 90-second long trailer. No, it's not for a new video project in case you're wondering, especially not after my iceberg video fiasco. This will be a trailer for something else entirely, which I had been working on for much of last year in fact. I don't want to spoil what it is just yet, even though you can probably figure it out yourself through a quick Google search. So all I'll say for now is that if you were disappointed by my iceberg video's cancellation, then this should hopefully compensate for that, at least somewhat. Once it's finished, the trailer will be released, which I pray to God is sooner than later. Y'all should know me by now when it comes to those sorts of promises. After that, I'll upload a simple channel trailer for new visitors and people just discovering this place, and then that'll be it. This channel will ride off into the sunset with 250 videos, and at long last, the name Mario Master 810 will be completely dead. You know, for the last 3 years or so, I had been waiting so patiently to get myself to this moment. Now I've basically already rebranded, and this is about to become my victory lap. All I can say is, it's been a long time coming, and that's for sure. So, that's the plan. 2 more videos here, and I'm off and moving on to newer things. Where one chapter ends, the next one begins. I hope all of you still watching this will be interested to see where the rest of my journey takes me. Until then, I'll try not to stay off the grid for too much longer. Keyword, of course, being try. And I think that finally covers just about everything. Before I go, I just want to say that I appreciate y'all who made it this far into the video. I know I've probably been talking my mouth off for way longer than anyone should have to listen. I mean, holy hell, the script I wrote for this update was well over 5,500 words. That's like over half the length of an undergraduate thesis. Your boy knows how to write some shit, let me tell you. Anyway, there's been a whole lot of radio silence for me thus far throughout 2024, and really since my last update video if you think about it. I apologize for not talking about all this way sooner. It's just been difficult trying to find the right words to dump all this baggage I've been carrying since then. But now that I've done it, I think I can finally start making true progress toward the next step of my YouTube career. I suppose we'll have to wait and see if that holds true in the coming months, won't we? But all that aside, thank you all so much for watching and listening to me ramble. I'll be returning to the shadows for the time being, so good luck trying to get in contact with me until I feel comfortable talking to people online again. Sorry, stalkers. And yeah, that does it for me. Until then, I'm Jacktastic, formerly Mario Master 810, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, guys.